We are going to talk about buying properties in Los Angeles, and for this topic, I invited my colleague and my friend Katherine from Douglas Elliman Real Estate Company. Thank you for inviting me in such a beautiful office. So, can you tell me, please, a little bit about yourself? How long you've been working? How long you've been doing real estate in Los Angeles?
I've been in real estate for over 6 years. I specialize in residential real estate for people who are moving in or investing in Los Angeles from overseas. And there are certain areas that I specialize in, which is Venice Beach or Venice, Santa Monica, Beverly Hills, Century City, downtown Los Angeles, and Westwood.
Let's speak about each of the areas you mentioned. Just tell us a little bit more.
So as you know, Venice Beach is a historical area that was developed over 100 years ago by a famous Albertini developer with the history of the actual Venice, Italy in mind. It's a very hip, very energetic, very trendy area, trendsetter I would say, similar to your Arbat, I would call. We have Santa Monica, incorporated city by the ocean, which is probably the most famous part of Los Angeles besides Hollywood, located by Santa Monica Pier, by the ocean, with 3rd Street Promenade. Amazing as visitors as well as residential real estate. We have incorporated city Beverly Hills, where who doesn't know Beverly Hills? It's the brand name for say creme de la creme. We have Westwood with Westwood Corridor, which is very similar to New York with high rises on both sides. We have Century City, Avenue of the Stars, where Fox Studios, different agencies, different high-end attorneys and companies are located with Century City Mall. We have downtown Los Angeles, which is a booming area right now, as you know. A lot of high-rises are coming up. The past 10 years, it's been redeveloped, revamped, as we say, and a lot of investors are coming there as well. And we have Westwood, which is Wilshire Corridor, next to UCLA, great for professors, for children who want to go to school, for anyone who is related to UCLA, or just for people who want to be in that type of vibe.
Are there any restrictions for the foreign buyers to buy properties in Los Angeles?
Of course, we welcome all the foreign buyers and investors to Los Angeles. There are absolutely no restrictions. I do not know about other countries and other locations, but in Los Angeles, over 60% of buyers are foreign investors, foreign buyers who come here because it's a booming environment compared to all other cities, cosmopolitan, London, New York, Miami Beach, Hong Kong. Los Angeles is a booming city, but not vertically because we have height restrictions, except for certain areas. So there is not so much room vertically. So it's a horizontal city, as we call it. So some areas like Beverly Hills, Santa Monica, it's already developed. So there is no more, it's a high scarcity city. So it's a place where you invest your money and they will always be going up in value, those places, because there will be no second Beverly Hills. There is no room for that. Will be no other Santa Monica. There is no room for that. And the vertical level, we don't have allowance for high rises.
By the way, what about the prices on the market? How they change from city to city and from areas to areas?
So it depends, of course. I cannot say generalize. I can send you more detailed analysis on areas and pricing, but it's basically a rule of thumb for Beverly Hills right now, slightly below $2,000 per square foot. In downtown Los Angeles right now, because it's a booming developing area, slightly below $1,000 per square foot. and it's all the rest is in between. But again, like it's constantly growing, constantly developing, and the demand is higher than the supply. So that's why I believe, in my opinion, it's the best investment, the best place to be, and we have the best lifestyle out of all cosmopolitan cities.
So what about extra costs when a buyer sign a contract, and what about costs for owning the property?
So let's divide this in two different categories. One is the cost associated with the purchase of the property, another type of cost associated with the time after you've purchased and you're the owner of the property. So let's start with the first category. First category, all the closing costs are paid by the escrow, during the escrow, by the seller from the purchase price. So the buyer doesn't pay any, what did you mention before, certificate or whatever. Those are included in the closing costs. Buyer gets the title, and those titles are also paid by the closing costs. The only costs that occur during the purchase process are the inspection costs. And I recommend strongly to have a number of inspections done, especially for certain properties, unless it's a brand new construction. But even then, the more you inspect and do due diligence of the property, the better you can negotiate together with your agent the price, the purchase price. So you can get a great price, spend a couple $100 on inspection, but you can make a great deal. So those are the inspection costs that I recommend you do during the purchase. Once the property is purchased, you have so-called maintenance costs that can be electricity, internet, gas, water, you name it. It can also be homeowner association fees, which is a cost that occurs if you live in a condominium, if you have a red carpet, if you have a concierge, 24-hour concierge service, if you have a valet parking, if you have a security guards, if you have amenities such as pool, a gym, steams on, all those things that have to be paid by somebody. So they're paid by the association, meaning like all the people that live in that building pay something to contribute to that cost that occur monthly. If you live in a gated community, we say Beverly Park or some estates that have a gate in front, and they have a park, they have pools, sometimes tennis courts that are that can be used by all the neighbors. They also have homeowner association fees for the private roads and so forth. But normally when you purchase a house down the street with no shared amenities, with no shared guard, you don't have any homeowner association fees. You asked me about taxes. Taxes in California, real estate taxes are about 1% of the purchase price or appraised price, depends, but mainly, most often, purchase price. Then of course we have, if you purchase a house, you have a maintenance for the pool that you pay for the house. You hire a gardener, we say you get a maid. It's all up to you. How much maintenance do you need and how much help you require.
And how much is it approximately, let's say, from the minimum to maximum?
So homeowner association fees depend. We say if it's like a 4-story building with just a small pool or just a concierge, it can be $500 a month. If it is a high-rise with clubhouse, with a pool, with a jacuzzi, with a gym, with the 5 concierge people, 5 security guards, etc., then it can be up to $1,000 a month. But normally it varies from a couple of hundred to $1,000 or $2,000 a month, depending on the status of the amenities, of the services that are included with the property. As an additional cost after the purchase, it can be a homeowner's insurance. So in case of fire, in case of any kind of damage to the property, we say somebody drove in the evening into the pole or something, you have a homeowner insurance which covers the whole property. And sometimes you might have an earthquake insurance or flood insurance in some areas in San Francisco, for example. That also covers in case earthquake occur, in case flood occur, in case of fire occurs, and so forth. So different types of insurance. I strongly recommend buyers to purchase insurance right away.
What about capital gain taxes?
Yes, so we have a federal capital gain tax which goes for the properties that you own under 1 year. Then we have our capital gain tax for the state, as well as we have in America there is a special tax called FIRTPA, or Foreign National Tax on Real Estate Property. For this particular matter, we have specialist attorney who are specializing and working with you from day one in order for you to avoid the whole process and help you from day one to plan, strategize, and make sure that you do not pay foreign national property tax after the sale of the property. And we have an article, we have all the information available, we have top experts who I strongly recommend, and you have all of this available for you.
So what issues could be faced by a buyer?
I wouldn't call it an issue, I would call it just a small hiccups. So sometimes in some areas the seller might receive multiple offers, meaning there is more than one buyer interested in the property. So when that occurs, the seller's agent collects the offers and the best offer wins, whomever has the best cover letter that I recommend to write always. Make sure that you're writing a very nice and presentable cover letter about who you are, why you want this property, like very nice, friendly letter, because this personal touch is always like a benefit in when you see like 10 different offers with one cover letter, friendly, nice, you always like lean towards that compared to just empty offers. And of course the price, and of course the terms. Sometimes in many offers the seller might be willing to even go with a lower price offer when the terms of the contract are better. For example, instead of 30 or 60 days of closing, you can close in 10 days or 20 days. Instead of 10 days of contingency period, you have 7 days of contingency period. Again, the other side of this is with their shorter contingency period, you have to work with your agent very hard, very intensively for all the inspections, for all the checks on the properties, that you make sure that everything is in tip-top condition and you're ready to proceed to close or escrow.
So which was the funniest story, the funniest case you've ever experienced?
Well, we have a lot of funny stories going on during the deal transaction. Every deal is different. But one of the funny accidents I remember is when the seller was ready, willing, and able to sell the property. We had to make some changes, clean the house, make it more zen, more appealing to the buyer. Just a little bit cosmetic transaction to your nice stage, beautiful home. Took beautiful pictures, videos, and so forth. And in a week, the seller started looking online, looking at the pictures, looking around, and he goes like, where am I supposed to go? I have such a beautiful house in the best neighborhood, and it's so nice and beautiful and zen, and inspiring here. Where I'm gonna go with those prices though, it doesn't make sense for me to make a profit. I love where I am. I just want to take it off the market.
And so, did he take it off the
Yes.
market? Okay.
And lives there happily ever after. So let's do another story. There were investors who were purely calculating, analyzing, and strategizing on the purchase of the investment property. They were going purely by numbers, no feeling attached, no emotions. Once they came here and spent there a couple of weeks, they were in love, so much in love with the lifestyle. Beautiful surrounding, beautiful palm trees, beautiful ocean, just amazing lifestyle all year round. They fell in love with the property and just stayed here instead of using it as an investment property.
So thank you, Katherine, for the interview. Thank you, everyone. So if you need any details, you can find it on the link below. And if you have any questions, you can send me a message. So thank you.